Hey everybody, welcome to the Adventures of the Oklahoma Gruntman. Hope you're having a wonderful Friday. I'm just on my way up to meet with Patti for lunch. She's here in Woodward. So we're going to meet for lunch. I got to get hold of Tristan and he's going to meet us also. So just wanted to get my day started. Hope you're having a wonderful day. It's absolutely beautiful here right now. So God bless you guys. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Hey everybody, just want to thank Patti for treating us to lunch today. It's always great to meet up with her. We met in Oklahoma City, as you guys know, what, a month or so ago, 2 months ago?
Lost track of time.
Yeah, but we've just developed a great friendship, and she was here in Woodward and said, "You want to meet for lunch?" And I said, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to get you guys this little clip. Always enjoy spending time with her. Her brother-in-law and sister are also here with them, but they didn't want to be on camera. So thank you again, Patti. Always nice being here with you.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Definitely appreciate it.
I really enjoy when I get together because I get to be with Tristan too. Now I get to meet all these people that they talk about on film.
So cool.
Then you really get to know who they are when you see them in person. So
Yeah, and this is our little town.
Yep. Yep. I will be back. I see. Is that one of those tequila trucks over
Food
there?
truck, yeah.
Food truck, yeah.
Yeah, there's several
Yeah.
of them around town.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, thank you again, Patti.
welcome.
We get back down toward Oklahoma City, and we'll definitely meet up again.
Sure. Hope
We
you
don't
do.
get down there that often, but once in a while.
I do.
Yeah, Tristan does, apparently.
I'm
Yeah.
always in Oklahoma City.
But anyway, thank you guys. God bless you, and we'll talk to you later. Hey everybody, just out here mowing the backyard a little bit. I started on it earlier today, and then I took a little break. It's getting kind of warm out here, but I need to get the backyard done here, and then I got to work on the front yard tomorrow after the farmer's market. It's actually a nice day. The wind isn't blowing real hard. But I want to get the backyard mowed before it gets too tall. With the rain that we had, it's growing pretty fast. Hey everybody, I got done mowing the backyard. Looks pretty good. I just need to get the weed eater out yet, but Dakota's out here. He's laying in the shade. But yeah, I'm just sitting out here taking a little break. But yeah, I gotta get these branches cut up. I'll use them in the fire pit yet, but yeah, the backyard looks a lot better now. I just wanted to get it mowed before the grass got too tall. So yeah, just wanted to give you this clip. We'll talk to you later. God bless. Hey everybody, I'm just sitting out here on the front deck I'm going to read chapter 3 of Saving Dr. Frankenstein. I haven't read any for a while, so I'm just going to sit out here on the front deck and read chapter 3 of this, and hope you guys enjoy it. We'll talk to you later. God bless. Okay, I'm going to read chapter 3, Saving Dr. Frankenstein by Terry Green, which is Teresa Green. Chapter 3, Treasure Hunt. Ernie and Warren are both up early the next morning. They couldn't wait to go into the pumpkin meadows and fly. Warren rushes over to Ernie as fast as he can. Ernie is waiting for him on his front porch. As soon as Ernie sees Warren, they are off through town. The two young creatures spending all morning racing each other, playing flying tag, and just having a lot of fun. When it's time to go home for lunch, they cross the bridge. Tilly is waiting for them. Well, are you going to work on the project or not? You two have been playing all morning, Tilly says with her hands on her hips, scowling at them. We have all summer, Tilly, Warren says. The sooner we do it, the better, Tilly responds. Have you come up with anything? Warren asks. No, but we need to try to figure something out, Tilly answers. Why don't we divide and conquer, so to speak? You come up with some ideas and we will come up with some ideas. Then let's say in a week or two get together and decide whose idea is best, okay? Warren says. Why in a week or two? Why not in a couple of days, Tilly asks. Because I think we may be trying too hard. We are all struggling to come up with something. Of course, we can't come up with just anything. Besides, it's summer vacation, and we should be having some fun, Warren says. All right, when I get a couple of ideas, I will let you know. Warren looks over the small stone bridge at the creek below. The creek seems awfully low. Is that normal? Sometimes it does that. When it is low like that, that's when some of the men make repairs on the bridge and the stone wall. When they finish it, it goes right back up again, Tilly says. Warren shrugs his shoulders and continues to discuss the project. Soon they all say goodbye to each other. Warren flies with Ernie to his house. Ernie's mom tells him that he is invited to stay for lunch and that she has already talked to his mother. Ernie's mom made them fried toadstool sandwiches and carrot chips along with a big glass of pumpkin soda. The boys sit on the front porch to eat their meal. When they finish, they take their plates into the kitchen and ask Mrs. Igor asks Ernie to put his old mat in the attic. The two creatures run upstairs to Ernie's room. Ernie gets his mat and has a sad look on his face and says, I almost hate to put this up in the attic. It's been a good friend for me for a long time. Sorry, buddy, but you have outgrown it. You can have this great new magic carpet. Let's go up. Maybe we can find a special place for it so it won't get damaged or anything in case you want to use it again, Warren says. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. There are all kinds of trunks up there. Maybe it will fit in one of them, Ernie says. Ernie opens the door at the end of the hall and leads up to the large attic room. The door squeaks as it opens. As the boys go up into the old wooden stairs, each step they take makes a loud thumping noise. Boy, you couldn't hide up here if you wanted to. The door makes a loud noise, and so do the steps, says Warren. Both laugh as they reach the top of the steps. Warren looks around the large room. Wow, look at all that stuff. Maybe we can find something for Founders Day project. Hey, that's a great idea, Ernie says. Ernie carefully places his old mat on one of the shelves along the wall. Then he starts looking at what's on the shelves. Warren, why don't you look in some of the trunks and see if you can find anything? Warren nods his head as he bends down in front of a trunk near him. This looks like a woman's trunk. It's full of fancy hats and frilly dresses, Warren says as he closed the lid. Ernie continues to move around the room, looking behind stuff under dusty sheets to see what is there. Warren finds another truck behind an old rocking chair. When he tries to open it, Warren realizes it's locked. Hey, Ernie, do you know where the key is to this trunk? It seems to be locked. No, but there's an old desk up here that belonged to my grandfather. Maybe it's in there. Ernie makes his way to the other side of the long room. The desk is up against the far wall. He opens up the roll tops and starts going through all of the cubby holes and drawers. The last of the small drawers he opens is in the very back of it. He finds some old skeleton keys. Hey, I found some old keys. Maybe one of these will open it up, Ernie says. He walks over to Warren. Ernie kneels down beside Warren and tries each key. First, the shortest key, it didn't work. Then he tries the next one. Nope, no good. The third key was obviously too big. The fourth key fit in the hole in the lock. The boys looked at each other, then back down at the key. Ernie slowly turns the key. They can hear a click as it unlocks. Together they open the large lid. The trunk is full of papers and books. This is like going on a treasure hunt. I think this was the great-granddad's trunk. Dad said he kept journals and any notes he had ever written about anything. Maybe in some of these papers we can find what we need for our Founders Day project, Ernie says. The boys sit next to the trunk and take out papers to read. They dig through the old trunk, reading journals and old notes for almost an hour. Warren finds deep in the trunk a different looking journal from all the others. This one is leather bound with the last name embossed in gold on the front. Wow, look at this one, Warren says. Ernie leans over and looks over Warren's shoulder as he opens it up. On the inside cover, it is written, "To Igor, my most trusted friend and ally. May your memories be all be pleasant ones. Dr. Frankenstein." Dr. Frankenstein gave this to your great-granddad. I can't believe it. Maybe there's something in there that no one knows about, says Warren. Great, maybe this is what we've been looking for, Ernie says. I can't believe this isn't in town hall or locked up in the library or something. This could be an important part of Creatureville's history, Warren says. I don't know if anyone knows it exists, so start reading it already, Ernie says excitedly. Warren turns to the next page and very slowly begins to read. It's almost midnight, and I can see the torches gathering in the town center from the main tower of the castle. Dr. Frankenstein's creature wandered around in the woods today. He was seen by several of the townspeople. Their yelling is getting louder and louder. They must be nearing the castle. We must escape now. Dr. Frankenstein is going to try to talk to them and see if he can calm them down. That's all for that entry, Warren says as he turns the page. The entry is for a couple of days later. Warren continued to read the journal. I have not been able to write in my journal for a few days. Dr. Frankenstein was killed almost immediately by the crowd of villagers. I was able to escape with both of the beings that Dr. Frankenstein created. The villagers set the castle on fire. All three of us barely escaped through the secret passageway in the back of the dungeon. The smoke was pretty thick and it was hard to breathe until we got deep into the tunnel. Now we have found ourselves in the dark cave. The torch I carry hardly gives off enough light in the dark cave to be much help. We have no idea where we are going. I have been carving arrows along the walls as we walk. There are noises in here like I never heard before. We have no provisions with us. We are all becoming weary without food and water. Frankenstein and his bride are learning to talk and communicate with me. They are able to learn. I have great hopes for them. Maybe we can find a remote place to make our home. Read about another day, Ernie says. Oh, okay. Now let's see, Warren says as he flips over a couple more pages. We can hear some water running, but not much, just a trickle. If only we could see. Bride Frankenstein is tilting her head. She's pulling both of us with her as she carefully walks along. The sound of the water is getting louder. Bride lets go of my hand, and next she puts her hand on my face and it's all wet. Do we take a chance and drink it? Frankenstein is so thirsty he leans over and cups his large hands under the stream of water falling from the rocks and sips it. Good water, he says. So Bride then drinks and I take my turn. We all feel somewhat better, but we must find something to eat. Protein is what we need. We will try to carry some of the water in my hat. It is made of sheepskin and we hope it will hold some. After we all drank as much water as we could, the hat was filled and we continued to find our way through the dark cave. Wow, this is exciting. Wow, our ancestor's story about going through the caves. Let's keep reading. Maybe we can find out how they got through, Ernie says. This is better than anything we have ever heard. I wonder why this was never turned into the Historical Society or placed in the library archives or something, Warren says. I don't know, but read more. Maybe we can find out some more, Ernie says. Warren turns the page and continues reading. We walk a few more feet when we discover some mushrooms. I studied them, but I have never seen anything like them before. They look huge. They look like huge elephant ears. They are bright red in color with green spots on them. I explained to Bride and Frankenstein that some mushrooms are edible, but others can make you very sick or even kill you. Bride reached over and broke a small piece off. I tried to stop her before she took a bite, but she said she would rather die right now than continue or until she starved to death. Frankenstein did the same thing. They looked at each other and ate the mushroom at the same time. They both nodded it was very good, and Frankenstein removed the whole mushroom. He split it in half and they each ate their half. I took a piece and ate it also. As I ate, I found it to be very delicious too. Almost a sweet taste, a bit of nutty, almost like a sweet bread. Bride ripped off a piece of her skirt while Frankenstein pulled some more mushrooms off the wall. They were placed in the material and wrapped up. Frankenstein carefully carried them. We continued on the pathway we found on the cave floor. I can't believe they found food and water in a cave. I don't think I've ever heard of any food growing in a cave. How brave they must have been to eat no matter what could have happened, Warren says. Or they were scared of starving to death, which death would be worse, Ernie says. What are you boys doing up there? I thought you were just putting Ernie's mat away, Mrs. Igor yells up the stairs. Sorry, Mom, but we are looking for something to use for Founders Day project. Ernie yells back down at her. Okay, but don't stay up there all day, Mrs. Igor replies. Mom, is it okay if Warren spends the night? Ernie asks, yelling down the stairs. Yes, I'll call Bride and let her know, Mrs. Igor replies back. Both boys looked at each other to do their special handshake in celebration. They both get up and run down to Ernie's room with the journal. As soon as they reach his room, Ernie takes the journal back out and reads some more. Is that fresh air I feel on my face? Both Bride and Frankenstein can feel it also, but it is still so dark we can't see where we are. As we walk along, I feel marshy ground under my feet. Sometimes we are actually walking in water. There are a lot of large trees, we have to maneuver around them. When we become so exhausted, Frankenstein helps me and Bride up a tree and onto a large limb where we all fall asleep for a few hours. When we woke up, we ate some of the mushrooms and drank some of the water before starting again. We did this for what seems like several days. It's so hard to tell with the constant darkness if it's day or night. Now we were told some of this stuff, but not much detail, Warren says. Ernie shakes his head in agreement, then continues reading. The air becomes lighter and the trees seem to have disappeared. I look up into the sky and see the stars for the first time in over a week. We were all exhausted from our travels, so we agreed to lay down and sleep. The sun shone brightly the next morning. What a treasure to have the sun wake us up, and the warmth that we felt from it. We ate the last of the mushrooms and drank the last of the water, but we're not worried because in front of us is a field of pumpkins growing wild. They seem to be covering the entire valley. As we walk toward them, we can see how vast the field is. Pumpkins are so thick, we have to walk on top of them. Even Frankenstein's weight doesn't crush them. As we climb over them, we can hear the sound of running water. We get to the edge of the pumpkin patch and realize we are standing on the edge of a deep gully. There is a stream flowing in the bottom of the gully, rolling over the rocks and pebbles. We decide to make camp for the night, pick one of the pumpkins. Frankenstein walks along the gully toward the group of some trees and picks some wood. My torch is still lit so we can build a fire with it. With my pocket knife, I cut back some of the vines from the pumpkins to make room for us to build a fire and sleep. We use the leaves of the pumpkins for bedding. Bride borrows my knife when I am done with it and cuts up a couple of the pumpkins. Frankenstein brings us some wood, then gathers some of the rocks and puts them in a circle. When the fire gets going, Bride walks along the edge until she finds a flat rock she likes. Bride then instructs Frankenstein where to set in the fire. She places some of the coals on the top of the rock that is good and hot. She cleans off the flat rock, then places the slices of pumpkin on them. We had fried pumpkin and water for dinner the first night in this lovely valley. It was the best thing I had ever eaten. We all slept peacefully through that night. Wow, can you imagine being the first ones here? There was nothing for them but water and pumpkins, says Warren. They were true pioneers, but they were forced to do it. That's the only sad thing, Ernie says as he turns another page. We wake up to more fried pumpkin and we discuss going across the gully. We want to carry on, but we don't know how we are going to cross this deep gully. Frankenstein walks back down to the small group of trees that stands on the edge of the gully. He looks over at the tree and stands back a few feet and looks at the height of the trees. He disappears around the other side of a small stand of trees. Bride and I look at each other, then back over the trees. We can see the top of the tallest tree shaking back and forth. Soon it starts leaning over toward the gully. With a loud boom, the tree falls across the gully, creating a bridge for us. Frankenstein tries it out by walking across it first. There are some limbs in the way, but he's able to break off some of the smaller ones. But there are two large ones he could not get to break. He comes back over, picks up a couple of the smaller pumpkins and carries them across. Then he helps me and Bride across. He goes back over and gets the torch going again and puts out the fire. He grabs one more pumpkin and carefully maneuvers it across the tree. Frankenstein hands the lit torch to Bride. He picks up the two larger pumpkins while I take the smaller one. We continue to walk toward what seems to be the middle of a beautiful valley. We decide to make camp here. There seems to be plenty of things here which we can make shelter. We all sit down on a fallen tree and discuss what we will need to survive. I almost wish I could have been there, Warren says. Yeah, can you imagine having to try and build everything from scratch with no tools or anything? I'm glad I didn't have to worry about it, Ernie says as he turns another page. After a full day of rest and fried pumpkins, which is now becoming old, Frank made a couple of trips back to the stream to get water. He is the only one that is able to climb up and down the side of the gully and carry water at the same time. He also climbs back across the tree to get more pumpkins. One time he brought some of the young pumpkin blossoms. Bride picked from dandelion leaves and found a few berries. Then she fried some of the pumpkin seeds and cut some of the pumpkins up into small pieces and made a salad. Finally, something a little different to eat. So that's why they call that salad bride's salad. I thought it was because it was made for weddings most of the time, Ernie says. Warren continues on with the journal entry. Maybe we can forage enough food to keep us going until we can create a garden or something. We haven't come up with something for shelter, so Frankenstein and I decided to walk around and see what we can find. We just walked a few feet when we noticed a big pile of large rocks. Frankenstein said that some of the dirt along the stream is clay. He wants to build a lookout tower big enough to live in. I tried to talk him out of it, but he insisted that he would do it with our help He wanted a way to watch out for anyone who might stumble across the valley in the same way we did, a place to protect ourselves, and to be ready for anyone who would try to destroy us. So we started making plans. First, we needed a way to get up and down the gully and able to carry clay and water up. The plans are made and what action we need to do to put this in, to put it to work. Meanwhile, we made a makeshift lean for some shelter in case of rain. Talk about roughing it, Warren said. Yeah, at least we had sandwiches and a tent when we went camping. They have to build everything, Ernie says, and turns the page. First, Frankenstein and I went back to the Black Forest. We pulled down several of the vines that hung from the trees. Luckily, we did not have to go very far into the dark woods. Frankenstein started calling the dense forest the Green Swamp. He said even though it was so dark, he felt it was rich with green life. Yet, it is a swamp. We carried many vines that each of us could go back to the gully. Frankenstein carried them all across the gully on the fallen tree. Then he tied one of the vines around another tree on the side of the gully and tied some knots in it all the way down. He dropped it over the side. It was so long that it went down almost the bottom of the gully. He climbed down the rope. When he reached the bottom, he mentioned for me to follow him down. I was surprised that I was able to follow him down the rope. Once we were down there, we gathered some rocks and started stacking them along the wall where the bank was farthest away from the stream. We mixed some water with the clay down the stream and started building a wall. By the time we had a good foundation, it was getting late, so we climbed back out of the gully, ready to eat and start earlier the next day. I didn't know they built the rock wall along the stream. I knew they built the tower, but not the wall, Warren said. I guess I never thought about it because that and the bridge have always been there, replies Ernie, as he continued to read the next entry. It's amazing how quickly we built the wall and the stairs so we wouldn't have to climb down the rope anymore. While we were picking up rocks to build with, Frankenstein found a stone with a sharp edge on one side. He took a strong branch with a sharp edge on the side. He took a strong branch, borrowed my knife, and whittled a handle of sorts. Then he took some of the vine and lashed it around the rock onto it. He used it as an axe to make some firewood first. Then he chopped down a small tree and made some wood planks. With the use of the vines, he made us buckets to carry stuff. We were able to use that with the rope that was tied to the tree to get clay up the stairs as we built them higher and higher. Soon we had the stairs completed. Frankenstein built a couple more buckets for carrying water and such. Now Bride could fetch her own water while we continued to build the shelter we needed. Bride herself has been foraging for food. She would use my knife to trim the berry bushes so they would produce more berries. She took some of the clippings and got the roots planted more berry bushes. She found some small patches of wheat growing wild. Instead of using it for food, they went to seed. She gathered the seed and placed them in the material from her skirt. We drew a big circle in the dirt. I found another rock that I could use as a pickaxe. Frankenstein whittled another handle for that. It was used to loosen the dirt. While Bride and I took chunks of bark to dig out the dirt, when we had the circle dug down 4 feet deep, Frankenstein and I carried up water and clay to put in the bottom of the hole. Frankenstein started placing rocks into it. We would pack clay between the rocks on the top, more rocks on top of that. We got a little carried away and almost forgot to put a doorway in, so we decided to build up a nice porch in the front of the tower, and the porch on the back with the stones we decided would give us more of a base so we could build a tower tall enough to see further. This is so cool. We now know more than anyone about Creatureville, how Creatureville was founded, Ernie says. Boys, come down for dinner, yells Mrs. Igor. Okay, Mom, Ernie yells. Let's go. I didn't realize until now I'm starving, Warren says. The boys run down the stairs and hurriedly wash their hands sitting down at the table. What have you two boys been doing up there? You have been awfully quiet, asked Mrs. Igor. We have been working on our Founders Day project, answers Ernie. What are you going to do? Ernie asked. We are still researching stage, so we don't know exactly which direction we want to go, Ernie replies Ernie. Is there anything I can help with, boys? Asked Ernie's father. No, Dad, not right now. But if we need any help, we will be sure to ask, Ernie replies. Okay, just let me know if you need anything at all, Mr. Igor says. After dinner, Ernie and Warren help clean up the dishes. They help dry while Ernie's mom washes them. When she finishes, she puts the dishes away and asks Ernie to take out the trash. Both boys grab the garbage can and carry it out. When they run back inside, they announce they are going upstairs. They run through the house and up the stairs. And that's the end of chapter 3. Very exciting. I'm just loving this. So it's called Saving Dr. Frankenstein. If you want to hear the first 2 chapters, go check out my old videos. I'll have them in a playlist. You can check out the first 2 chapters. But yeah, this is getting very interesting. I'm loving the book. Thank you again, Teresa. Definitely appreciate it. Just love this book. I wish I would have read number 1 first, but this is actually number 2 in the series. But I will go back and read number 1, but I don't want to start in another one. So yeah, check that out. We'll talk to you later. God bless. Hey everybody, hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Friday. I got a little bit done today. Excuse me. I got the backyard mowed. Got to meet with Patti Barrett. I want to thank you again, Patti, for taking us out for lunch. Always enjoyed spending time with you there. So yeah, it's pretty cool to meet up again. Just need to get my video uploaded here. So like I always say, treat everybody the way you want to be treated. Make this world a better place. Keep moving towards your goals, one step at a time. Be nice, be kind. Just be the best person you can be. God bless each and every one of you. And we will talk to you tomorrow from the farmer's market. God bless.